I am being in my no era, my curated era, my disciplined era, where I'm like, ew, not that, like, please, ew. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras. Happy New Year, everyone, 2024. It is a new year. So I actually have a couple tips and things that I wanted to share with you guys that made 2023 probably the best year I've ever had. And I wanted to share that with you. Usually I make a lot of these what my New Year's goals would be for the upcoming year, but like I just had such a good year. I was like, I'm gonna share what worked and I'm gonna share it with you guys because I just want my Cobra babies to win. So this video is actually for you guys and I'm gonna share what worked for me last year and that's something you can implement to make 2024 a lot better. It's nothing crazy. It's none of these like manifestations and like get your coin and side hustle and crypto and start flipping houses. It isn't any of those things. Your girl did that stuff last year and it drove, no, not even last year, the year before that, 2022 was such a grind and hustle year and it was the most depressing year ever. So none of these tips are that. These are just how to like self-care and self-improve. But anyway, let's get right into the video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo. So number one, stop with the social media comparisons. I think this one is so much more valid, more so than ever, especially with TikTok, because like maybe the young gen doesn't really compare themselves to YouTubers, but they definitely compare themselves to each other on TikTok. And I just feel like, can we leave that behind? Can we leave that behind last year? Can that so be 2023? You don't need to compare yourself to social media content creators. You don't need to compare yourself to your peers. You don't have to compare yourself to anyone. In 2024, you have full permission to no longer compare yourself to other people. You can definitely feel motivated and you can definitely feel inspired by content creators or fellow TikTokers or whatever it is media that you choose to use. But you are on your own journey. You are on your own path and you are unique. One of the cool things about TikTok is because TikTok is high in searchability, I got exposed to so many different people. Whereas on YouTube, I just see the same people over and over again. So I'm just constantly seeing the same people's successes and I'm just kind of like, I only look at my own grind and it was really depressing. But on TikTok, I saw so many young people like grinding, making content, talking into the universe as if it was like their thing when they didn't really have a very big following. And I was like, that's the new grind, like that's the grind. And then it kind of refreshed in my memory that like, you really don't need to compare yourself to anyone or everyone. You are on your own unique path. Just enjoy it. Like just enjoy social media for what it is. Hustle if you want, but definitely don't compare yourself because honestly, the comparison doesn't do you any good. If it's not inspiring you, if it's making you feel depressed, just leave it behind last year. Don't bring it with you into the new year. Okay, number two, drinking more tea over coffee. I definitely was a really heavy coffee drinker in these previous years, especially since I was gonna say recently, but it hasn't been recently. I bought the Nespresso machine, I wanna say last year or maybe even 2 years ago. Time flew by this year, but something that I kind of noticed was that the coffee wasn't doing my skin any favors. So this year, and especially in this most recent month, like in December, I definitely have cut down my coffee consumption. I was easily having like 2 a day and I'm like, no. So what I do now is like I might have one and then for the rest of the day, like I just have tea. And I think that that is just a lot healthier for you. You get a lot more hydrated with tea. There's a lot more like antioxidant properties versus caffeine is just pumping cortisol into your body and taxing your kidneys. Like don't get me wrong, I love me my Starbucks, but it's a new year, new us. So I think that for 2024, let's drink a lot more tea and a lot less coffee. Okay, and number three, eat well. Health is wealth. As somebody who used to suffer from an eating disorder, I will tell you, life is miserable when you're sick, when you have vertigo, when you're underweight, when you don't have your period, when you have acne flare-ups, when your body's intolerant to a bunch of food, when you have like fluctuations in your body and your clothes don't fit. It's a miserable way to live. Like it's not fun and I don't wish that upon anybody. So health is wealth. In 2024, we're going to get on our grind. We're going to eat balanced. We're not going to be restrictive. We're going to have everything in moderation. We're going to be healthy and we're going to exercise. That was such a game changer for me, such a health change. For those of you who've been following me for a really long time, because I've been making YouTube videos for about 6 years now, you guys have seen my journey from being very restrictive and ultra healthy obsessed to being very gluttonous and just eating everything under the sun. And I wasn't happy in either of those extremes, but I was most happy was when I had a balanced lifestyle, when I had some bread, if I had a bit of butter, or if I had a bit of meat. It was so good because like I have been vegan, I have been keto, I have been everything. I don't do any of those things anymore. I am boring, balanced lifestyle and it's been so good. I do not have an unhealthy relationship whatsoever and the binges are gone, guys. I have not binged in over 3 years. So if that can help anybody else out, because a lot of my Cobra crew are female, Babe, it's okay to eat the bread, it's okay to eat the milk. Let's leave behind the food alternatives in the past. Okay, and number 4, stop buying stupid shit. So the only reason I can say this is because I used to be very restrictive. I really had no authority to tell anybody to not buy anything because I wasn't buying anything. I was definitely on the money saving grind, the student loan payback grind. Like, I didn't buy stuff. So I was in a position where it probably would have been good for me to buy some stupid shit. But for a year and a half, because I took my minimalism break for a year and a half, I was definitely buying a lot of stuff. Obviously, I want to be like, it wasn't like super dumb, but honestly, there were some dumb stuff in there that if I could return it, I would. Like, there's a lot of colorways that I was like, what the hell were you thinking? Certain sizes that I was like, you didn't need to buy that just because it was on sale. So I think that I finally have the authority to be like, stop buying dumb stuff. You definitely need to be a lot more intentional. And that's something that I'm telling myself for 2024. I am being in my no era, my curated era, my disciplined era, where I'm like, ew, not that. Like, please, ew. Like, it's not from a place of deprivation, definitely not from a place of deprivation. It's really coming from a place of like, honestly, like, I have a lot of stuff already. Like, I'm not bringing subpar stuff into my life. I think that's what it is. This is like just stop buying subpar stuff. Stop buying the dupes. Stop buying the knockoffs. Stop buying weird colorways. Stop buying it when it's on sale or just because it's on sale. We don't need that. Like, you, especially because I know my analytics, we're grown women and we're making our own coin. You don't need to be buying subpar stuff. You deserve to have the nice things that you want. Like, obviously within reason. I'm not telling you to go blow stuff. Don't be irresponsible. Most of you are not irresponsible, but you guys know what I'm talking about. We are leaving behind the subpar, mediocre, dupe lifestyle behind last year. Okay, number 5, invest. Being in your wealth building era. I don't make these videos anymore. I don't know if it's because my audience is primarily female and no one actually wants to hear about me talking about my stocks and my growing portfolio. But let's just say I looked it up. My net worth, I'm technically in the affluent category. So I'm not gonna say numbers because it's really not about the numbers and that's very private and I'm not trying to put this on the internet. But all I'm trying to say is, for those of you who've been on my grind for the past 6 years, I have been slowly and hardworkingly putting money away and working and saving and investing, and it's finally paying off. In the beginning it wasn't, but now it finally is. But my point being is, ladies, I'm not saying you can't buy nice stuff, but you need to be growing your wealth at this point. Like, maybe it's not a very popular mantra, especially with TikTok. With TikTok just being like, have this lifestyle and like the jet setting lifestyle, like all of that is great, but like you really do need to be putting money aside and taking care of yourself because nobody deserves your hard-earned money more than you do. Like, you can definitely have nice stuff, but if you don't even have money in the bank, like, babe, like, who are we really lying to? So that's something that has really helped me a lot, is to like put my head down and grind. Like, there's plenty of times where I questioned myself. I questioned my money saving narrative, my frugality narrative, because I was like, I never really saw people around me like this except for men. Like, men were on this, but women, definitely none. And I was like, am I doing something wrong? Am I in my masculine energy? But I think we can finally put forth being financially literate as something that's sexy. So I think that you should definitely be putting money aside. And if you can think of no other role model or anybody else who's doing it, just think Cobra's doing it. She's stacking her coin and she's putting money away and she still looks great. At least I think I look great. Like, when I look in the mirror and I look at my bank account, I feel like I can win. Like, I feel like I can have both. I feel like I can have nice stuff and I can have money in the bank. And I feel like you can too. So stop blowing everything. Get rid of the mediocre stuff so you have money to save and invest. Invest in what? I'm no financial advisor. I can't tell you, but do a little research and it's really not that hard. At the very least, save something. Okay, number 6, brain dump out all the negative, toxic self-talk. So that's something that I started doing. I didn't really believe in journaling. I started journaling at my mom's. So that was 2021. I started journaling out all the negative, toxic stuff. And it was pretty like disheartening to see the things that I would write in there. Like, the things that I truly thought about myself. I didn't really have a very high opinion of myself. To be fair, it wasn't a good era. We had just finished, like, I think honestly we were still in the second wave of the pandemic. It was not a good place. I wasn't in a good place. But it really did help get me through some of those darker times. And actually helps me a lot with my self now. Like, when I go back and I read those thoughts, I'm like, I don't think those thoughts anymore. And I can definitely see a lot of progress and a lot of growth, which is something that I can recommend for my Cobra babies. You should definitely journal. I'm not saying use your journal solely for writing your negative thoughts. Your journaling should also have positive thoughts and things that you're grateful for. But I feel like that narrative, it's mostly just, oh, gratitude, which you should be doing. But the shadow work is so important. Like, if you haven't done any shadow work recently, I think it can be really good and really healthy to kind of examine your deep and dark thoughts and kind of accept that we are imperfect and that there are things and thorns in your side. Once you're like honest with yourself, you can really move forward. That's something that I did. I wrote all the things that truly made me feel like my life was shit. And in those things, that's what helped me move forward. Like, I didn't like my job. So when I was honest with myself, it pushed me to create my own job. I wasn't happy with my eating disorder. So I decided, you know what, like, we're going to change that. I wasn't happy with my finances. I decided to change that too. And just being honest with myself has really helped a lot. And seeing that growth and that progress has given me good coping mechanisms to do better now when I have problems. It's like you can definitely overcome them because you do the shadow work. You have to address the shadow. Like, humans, we are the black and the white. You have to address the dark side of yourself, and I think that journaling is the most efficient way if you can't afford a therapist. So my little Cobra babies, that is what we are doing in 2024. We are getting our shit together in a very healthy way. There's going to be no crypto here, no 20 side hustles. It's just going to be self-care and self-love. And happy new year, Cobra babies. Comment down below what are some of your goals or thoughts. I would love to read it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.